Monty making a 2-star Devastator with probably his 7th egg of the match, by the way.
Egg Resist, bonus 2, and Venomancer.
Not able to get a bomb off.
Yeah, getting stuck under the static storm from Storm Shaman. And
hey guys, this month I'm giving away a PlayStation 4. All you have to do is comment on this video to enter, but be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified whenever I post a video, because to pick the winner, I'll be randomly selecting one comment from each video I post throughout the month, then selecting one of those people at random to win the console. So the more videos you comment on, the higher your chances are to win. Good luck. Also, my good friend Alexandro is giving away a Nintendo Switch this month, so be sure to head over to his channel for more details on that.
You're not getting the units for some of these top tier comps and selling yourself into assassins and securing a 4 for a third that could be good enough to kind of get those important points.
Yeah.
So it seems like the match have started here. We're gonna watch Chuck, of course, with that Soul Breaker. Speaking of units, we're starting to see a bit more of from the EU qualifier. We have seen a lot of 3-star Soul Breaker. The G.I. Joe.
Just one person. Technically, there was another person that built a 3-star Soulbreaker along with them as well, but we saw Disown go for a 3-star Soulbreaker 3 out of the 4 games in the EU games earlier today. So it was really, really interesting because he didn't necessarily build it with anything that had synergies with it. He did build it with like a God of War frontline and then let it kind of do its thing for the most part, but it never really had a specific purpose other than just to get in there and do damage. And then he ended up selling it every single game as he got into late game, but still a 3-star Soulbreaker, and he just kind of let it carry him throughout the games.
Yeah, and that also shows how late game these games become. When you're starting to sell 3-star units, then you know it's real late game. And we saw Magikarp selling a 2-star Tsunami Stalker when it's kind of did its job against some of the mage player, and when those guys were out, he has sold it and went to something else. And I've never seen a 2-star Tsunami Stalker being sold.
Yeah, I mean, if you've gone that far, you're like at least wanting to keep it on the bench just in case you change your mind. But no, knowing Magikarp, he just sold it. He was like, okay, I don't need this anymore. I'm up against a different type of player now, and I can go ahead and throw in some other useful things, and never going to come back to that.
I really like Chuck's start here because he's on his way to get a pretty decent Goblin start. But if it doesn't hit it, he's actually picked up a Fortune Teller, which could make him go into that lose streak, of course, making it a bit easier for him to not lose too much health while he's lose streaking. And we all actually see him putting, I think he got a Frantic Mask, if I'm not mistaken. Like a potential Frantic Mask. So you could start thinking about which comp is Frantic Mask good for. And of course, Knights. And I'm thinking especially of Lightblade Knight being really good with that. And no real use to not try to win the first round, I think. You really want to try to win that one. And if you lose, then you can start Fortune Teller.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really great start overall. He's not going to beat Monty's 3 goblins, I would assume. As soon as Heaven Bomber gets off, he's going to take out a couple units there. So it's not the greatest start, of course, but it is a good start for going Knights Glacier. It's very efficient. He has 2 Knights, 3 Glaciers already, and then he's just looking for basically 1 more Glacier, and then he'll have 2 Knights, 4 Glacier already.
Yeah, for sure. And we've seen also one of the issues with going Knights is that you can make your bench way too expensive to hit those kind of interest points, and having a Fortune Teller early can actually help you lose streak into getting to those late game Knight comps, especially with the new strategy of staying at 5 and not. If you stay at 5 and don't level, you're gonna lose a lot of life usually. But you want to stay there to be able to roll in when you hit the 50 goal mark into more Hell Knights and Lightblade Paladins. But it seems like Chuck is gonna still try to win his rounds here, getting a second Hell Knight and that Soulbreaker 2-2-star.
Yeah, and you see him kind of changing his mind there over and over again, and I think he went with the right decision. He has the 2 Hell Knights that are extremely good early game, very tanky, and also offer some CC as well. And then just putting in the Frost Knight in order to buff it up a little bit. The Desperate Doctor is really good early on as well, but the the Soul Breaker is just going to be a little bit more useful in this
For
situation.
sure,
So
yeah.
he was able to pick up another Fortune Teller as
Wow.
well. So he's getting a really good start for Knight's Glacier,
Yeah.
and it's going to be pretty scary if he starts picking up some of these 3 stars here. He just seems like he's getting one Knight after the next and just stacking them up. So we'll check back in on Chuck in a little bit. Of course, he is one of the top players of the NA Lobby
Yeah.
2, I believe, Group 2.
Yeah,
So
and saying one of the top people in the NA lobbies. I mean, all of these people have their history in the
Right,
games.
of
They've been
course.
So impressive.
And before we kind of switch off of Chuck, he is known for his high rolling ways and just being super lucky with the
Must
pulls
be
that he's getting.
nice.
So
I mean, I wish I had that skill personally.
it's very apparent here that it's no different in today's game as well.
All right, so Mont is still at 100%, of course. It's only round 6, so we're going to see a lot of people staying at that streak. He has the Goblin start with a 2-star Skybreaker and that Taboo Witcher to potentially shut off some demons, but also shutting off some frontline units. And the 1-star Sniper, we've seen that being so efficient in the early game with that strong kind of nuke, kind of similar to Soulbreaker in a sense.
Soulbreaker and even Flaming Wizard as well. Both of them
Ooh.
all have the
Sizzle.
same type of effect. And yeah, he's got a Swordman now. He also has a few Warriors, and we've actually seen Monty be very effective with Warrior front lines,
Yeah.
along with other types of backlines, whether it be Hunters or Dragons Mages.
Sure.
So
I
no
think,
different here.
I think there's a chance he will. Okay, he picks up 2 light blade knights here, but I was thinking that he was at 6 gold and probably wants to see if he wins this round or not. Whether he should try to get that interest point that could be crucial for kind of leaping into the mid game here, starting some interest. But seems like he's gonna keep his options open with a kind of broad bench instead, and maybe waiting for the next round to start picking up some interest. Actually, only Sagrug having a real amount of gold in this game so far.
Yeah, swapping over here to T-Tigers, also the other 100%er as well. And honestly,
is
building a
strong.
pretty similar build to Monty already, with the Hunter build. Already has the Exorcist Ranger 2-star, Stone Spirit 2-star, just has that Argalionite with the items because he knows he's probably going to be selling it here in the next few rounds or so.
For sure, and we talked about that before as well, that the 3 Hunter start is very strong early game because it gives you that flat damage increase, right? And that's, of course, it doesn't scale that well, but at this point of the game, it's actually amazing. The earlier you get it, the better it becomes. And
Wow, that Water Spirit just
it crushed it,
completely
yeah.
had the perfect skill and was able to, unfortunately, knock T-Tiger's win streak offline.
Water Spirit super strong against these Hunter lineups, but because their backline is usually very squishy, and when it jumps back to the backline and gets its ult off, it usually sweeps away the entire backline. So pretty unlucky there with the matchup, I'd say.
Yeah, Vincent here going with some interesting units to start. Of course, he has the 2-star Soulbreaker, which is amazing. 2-star God of War, also amazing. Has a random defector just kind of thrown in just for some value, but also got the Shaman bonus early on. And I think
so
that's something
nice.
that you typically would add in much later in the game, but being able to turn the Taboo Witcher into a duck right after the start
I think
is
it's actually
pretty
amazing at this point because he has a Magicka Crystal as for Soulbreaker, which means together with the God of War is going to pump out a lot of damage, and getting actually a synergy early with God of War is incredibly difficult. I mean, in the beginning of the game, you usually get all of these racial buffs, you know, the 3 goblins and the cave clan, etc., etc. But being able to kind of manifest one synergy with a powerful 2-star God of War is gonna, I think Vince is incredibly powerful right now.
Yeah, and round 10, we can go ahead and take a look at the gold acquired stats here. And Monty running away with things, of course, with a 100% win streak at 64, and then everybody else kind of right in line. Sizzle, of course, just a little bit behind, also with Chuck, but so far, no real outliers. Everybody's pretty much right on track with each other.
Yeah, Sagrug feels like it's weird. Sagrug is kind of loose streaking here, but it's also level 6. It's kind of a different It's kind of an interesting position he's in. Hey, maybe he's actually not trying to lose streak. Just that's just what happened. He played against some strong opponents, and here we are.
Yeah, one of the best lose streaks that you can actually have is the unintentional lose streak, where you just happen to start gaining a ton of gold because you're at a plus 3, +2 win streak just randomly.
Yeah. So Mont is still at 100% neutron. Let's have a look at some of the bottom players. What their work. Another storm shim in the survey. Okay, neutron actually doesn't seem that weak. He has a pirate captain super strong early. His CC is strong, of course, but especially that extra damage from the boat is something you shouldn't underappreciate. And that 2-star swordman does look kind of scary, honestly.
Yeah, honestly, there's not much difference between teams between 8th and even first placers. I think the main thing that's carrying the top guys is that 2-star Soulbreaker, and it just kind of goes to show you how important that is. But also Neutron sitting very close to a second 2-star Swordman as well.
That Chuck looks super scary. Let's have a look at him. I think he picked up an early Berserker and does already have the Glacier Clan enabled. And Glacier Clan with a 2-star Hell Knight at this point is just incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
And it's, as you said, he also has that early game Soulbreaker, which does have a very short cooldown on a powerful nuke. And when you give him the extra attack speed from the Glacier Clan, it's gonna be able to throw out those Shuriken as a very rapid pace.
Yeah, this is an insane Night Glacier start already.
Yeah.
And King of Hyrule is continuing his reign over here.
Yeah, and especially you can see that Soulbreaker actually killing the Shadow Demon here before it even gets his ult off and then finishes off the sniper. So crushing Neutron actually. Yeah, Shaq looks like to be in a really good position to get a bit of a streak, and Monte actually keeping his as well. He doesn't have an economy, however, so he's really putting in his money to keep the streak. This is all a bit scary because if you somehow get a bit of bad RNG or maybe a bad matchup, you can actually lose that early. But
he's about to get a 2-star Doom
Wow.
already, which is going to be
round 13.
insane for him.
Round 13.
I do believe he had 2 eggs already. I think I saw it come across
Yeah.
where he got 2 eggs.
Okay.
Chuck also got another egg as well, so that's going to be saved for his Berserker, I would assume. So very nice start. Plus, he was able to sell the 2-star Soulbreaker already with the addition of Lightblade Knight. And I know we've talked back and forth about which unit to throw the items on in a Knight's Glacier comp, and it's definitely going to be the Lightblade Knight, which he puts the Frantic Mask
I
on.
would actually have liked him to see him, this might sound weird, but sell that egg on his bench. I mean, it's nice to get that Berserker, but he's just so strong now. I think he wants to start economizing a little bit more, because that egg, of course, is gonna be 5 gold unused on his bench, but it seems like he's gonna elect to keep it. Hopefully his streak is gonna make it so that egg, extra kind of money is sitting there isn't gonna be as apparent for him.
Wow, it seems like so many
Another
people are
egg.
grabbing eggs. Neutron got one, Chuck got one.
Another
I
one,
think
actually.
Zugrug has an egg as well.
Jesus.
There's just eggs everywhere.
You can make an
honestly.
omelet with this game.
Yeah. And Zugrug actually able to make a 2-star Storm Shaman with his egg
Jesus Christ.
already. So this is
Have
this
you
is
ever
a
seen this
very
many epic upgraded units at round 14?
At round 14 I have not, but also looking at the HP of a lot of these players too, it's surprisingly low as well. And
Yeah.
it's probably because of all of these boosted players.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this lobby is incredibly powerful. Pretty much everyone is high rolling big. I mean, look at Zagrug. He has a 2-star Lightblade Paladin, has a 2-star Turbo Witcher, 2-star Frost Knight, 2-star Defector, and a 2-star Storm Shaman. He's incredibly powerful, but he has the least amount of health anyways.
Which also makes it really scary that
Oh,
Monty
wow.
is somehow able to continue his 100% streak with as heavy as all these other players are already.
Even scary so is that he pretty much has like the perfect front line for a Hunter team. Also helping him dealing a ton more damage, looking to go up another level to 8 and putting in that one extra Egress's unit.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
he
even though
loves.
he hasn't had necessarily any economy, he's been able to get it from his win streak, and I think he's been playing this pretty well so far, obviously, and we've talked before how playing with a win streak and playing with a 100% win streak is actually sometimes more difficult than playing with a lose streak, because you really have to decide when to spend your gold, when to roll, when to level, and when to do all these things, so that way you can make sure that you maintain that win streak, because it's very easy to lose, and it's also very dangerous if you do lose it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, Monty, of course, running on a thin thread, but he has been the only player to be level 7 for quite some time, so that has really helped him keep his streak. And of course, that Doom Arbiter is crazy strong. I mean, later in the game, I wouldn't say it becomes worse, but Doom Arbiter is one of those units that aren't maybe the tankiest of warriors. It is tanky to some degree, but not as much as maybe a Pirate Captain, especially God of War or something else. And at this point, players doesn't deal that much damage yet. So Doom Arbiter actually is able to get a lot of damage. And it's especially good at this point of the game where you face a lot of units that have low HP, because Doom Arbiter's damage, he doesn't attack that fast, but it attacks really, really hard with that demon buff, and is able to kind of two-shot a lot of units before they get their spell off, and that's really a testament to his long streak here.
Yeah, and you can see him doing that right now as well, just kind of running through the entire team. And Vincent grabbing an egg, T-Tiger's grabbing an egg. He's able to pick up a dwarf sniper as well, so that's why he does go up to 8. So he is extremely powerful.
Yeah.
This is pretty insane. Also, though, T-Tiger's using his egg. Oh, I thought he was going to use his egg. He did not. But he did grab a 2-star dwarf sniper as well. So a very similar build from T-Tigers that we're seeing from Monty.
And right off the bat, we can see all of these hunter plays that have been super popular, actually, in the NA region, being very representative here. I think there's no single feather player, and that kind of makes even more sense. I mean, they didn't have the biggest success in the European qualifiers, but they should have even less success against all of these hunter players.
Yeah, definitely. And someone that we haven't looked at too much with Hosty, or is Hosty, and he's got a 2-star Pirate Captain, which is also another 2-star epic already. And what he's really hoping for is a 2-star dwarf sniper, especially since he's already masked it. I would have definitely recommended waiting to mask it until it's at least a 2-star.
Right. Yeah, I mean, at least you can wait with combining them, right? I mean, he still benefits, of course, from that extra attack speed from quarterstaff, not having the highest attack speed, really. And of course, that hunter bonus giving that flat-out damage to him.
So one thing we haven't seen too much of right now, or just yet, is some mage comps. We see one hunter team, we see 2 hunter teams. This is a Knight's Glacier.
There's a lot of Night Glaciers. And
so
here we
Vince
go.
has got the
now I'm
dragons.
feeling comfortable.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, are we playing a different patch now? I thought they didn't release that to PC yet.
Yeah, the Chiropteran.
Not that that would mean that there would be less mage dragon comps, but I mean, just saying.
Yeah.
All right, so Vincent, let's have a look at all the comps. TT Tigers, I think we were at him a second ago.
Yep.
Okay, he's playing that Hunters. Sissel.
Knight's Glacier.
Knight's Glacier, yeah. Sagrug is
Knight's
doing
Glacier.
nice. Wow, there's a lot of Night Glaciers. We can see some Venoms on Sagrug's board,
Hunters.
so maybe gonna try to move into like 6 Knights Dragons instead.
Yeah, we do have, I think, 4 exactly the same hunter builds. Not necessarily feathered hunter,
Another
but
egg.
warrior hunters. And yeah, Hosty picking up another
I've never
egg.
seen this many eggs. Honestly, this is ridiculous.
Yeah,
What
every
is
round
going
there's
on?
some type of egg flying across the
Yeah.
screen. And I think Vincent is the lone dragon mage player. And he
Yeah.
also has an egg already for him as well. So
Fully economized too.
yeah, I think Vincent's actually in a really good spot. 78% HP as well. Only one playing a non-contested build. Not necessarily just a dragon mage, but he's the only one playing a non-contested build. Everybody else is playing something that there's another player in the lobby playing.
For sure. And has a 2-star Venom already. Could be nice against all these Knight Glacier builds, locking down a Berserker, or even against the these frontline heavy units like the swordman. Maybe not the best against the swordman if he starts spinning right as the venom hits him, because of course swordman has quite high attack speed.
Yeah, and Monty's still able to maintain his 100% win streak
it's
with
looking real
all
good.
of these insane rolls. And look, Chuck picking up 2 more eggs this round.
Has he had like five?
Look at
5
his
eggs?
bench.
I think.
He's 1 away from a 2-star or 3-star Hell Knight too.
Right. Yeah. Because he can combine the eggs and then combine the Hell Knights too.
Yeah.
Very expensive Hell Knight though. Basically costing him 9 more gold if he wants to do exactly that. It might be worth it. I mean, Hell Knight just carries you for such a long time. It's also one of the most important units.
Or he could hold off, try to get a 3-star Berserker, as you said, that you've always wanted.
Like that.
I think once you have 3 eggs, you also always have that thought behind your mind, like maybe I should go a 3-star epic.
What? So, his Lightblade Knight, does he have all the items already? Oh, we do see another Berserker. Okay, he does have the items already, so does use the egg to finish that Berserker, of course. That's a really big power spike, but I don't think it's gonna go for the 3-star Berserker now that Lightblade Knight already having basically all of the items that they both want the same items, right? So you kind of gotta choose there what to go for.
Yeah, and he did roll down quite a bit that round, which you'll probably end up
Ships are
seeing
coming.
a lot of other people doing the same thing. And
Chola Elder too, actually, from Neutron.
yeah,
but it's
Neutron switching into mages pretty quickly there.
Yeah, not gonna be enough though for him. We've seen him gone down to 30%, so makes sense that he's kind of rolling down here and trying to hit a power spike, forcing the rest of the players to react with that domino effect we talked about earlier. Actually, a lot of players rolling below 50 gold. Actually, all of them except for Sizzle. Sizzle was kind of low on the gold gained situation, so I understand that he's trying to re-economize a little bit here. It does make sense. But
Yeah, he's got to be
I'm
careful
sure we're
though.
gonna
There's
see him roll as well. Yeah, we see him roll down to 40, 30, 34.
Vincent picking up a 2-star Dragonite as well.
Wow. Okay, yeah, Vincent is the
Monty
lone-
going 3-star Swordman.
Jesus. Yeah, he's down to 8 gold, so Monty really rolled a lot as well to keep that 100% streak, and I can't blame him, honestly. Wow, is that a Ghost Prophet?
Yeah, he's got a Ghost Prophet. He just said, you know what, I'll skip the Soul Reaper on this
Yeah.
one, guys. I'm just going to go straight to Ghost Prophet 2-star because I know how this game is going.
Yeah. That's really cool, actually. And so I still think that Vincent is in a great position.
This might be it.
He has the most amount of gold. I mean, he's at the 30 mark, right? But he already hit his 2-star Dragonite. Did lose against TT Tigers though, which has rolled down all the way to 5 gold. But I don't think Vincent is really in trouble. I feel like he could save some amount of gold, because if he starts rolling here, what is actually? I guess he is looking really for that Tortola Elder and that Thunder Spirit. So rolling here before going tonight does make sense. Does sell the Thunder Spirit, trying to get 4 humans in, which really makes sense here.
Yeah, he's just a little bit of ways away, though, from Tortola Elder, right? So I would probably say start saving up maybe until you like naturally roll another Tortola Elder.
Yeah.
Then try to go down for it. Unless you feel like you're just really bleeding, then go look for it as far as like rolling completely down. Because this 2-star Tortola Elder is very scary from Neutron. Hosey going down to 5% HP, so he's really got to make sure that he wins from here on out as well. And he's up against Monty, which is originally the 100% win streaker for the lobby up until about 20 rounds or so.
Yeah, Jose is in a very, very scary position basically, because people have been really high rolling in this game. I mean, we call this like the omelet game or something, because I've seen so many eggs, which means of course a lot of epic upgrades. Yeah, scary to be a loose streaker in these types of games.
Yeah, it's definitely not looking great for Hosey this game. He is picking up quite a bit of stuff here and does have some decent mana regen on his Siren as well, which is super important. He also has the Abyssal Guard plus Siren combination for the Marine bonus against. We have Vincent and Neutron both going mages as well. So
Yeah.
not a bad pickup for Hosey. It does look sort of stabilized, but the problem is that everybody else is also super high rolled. So not necessarily able to relax just
Right.
yet.
He's gonna get to play against Chuck, and Chuck actually has a few one-star units at this point, and he doesn't look that powerful at all. I wonder, however, it seems like it was close there in Hopes this game. Is he gonna go out here? Let's have a look. Oh, it's close. Okay, I think, yeah, Dwarf Sniper is gonna take this, but I actually thought it wasn't gonna be that close, given that Chuck actually had a few one-star units.
Looks like Zugrug is also.
Wow, Light Blade Knight 3. That is nice, with Frantic Mask, a Rune Hammer, and another Wood Staff there. Super powerful unit. And we have a bit of a pause here from the admins. Maybe
Yeah, I believe that
Chuck.
this is. Yeah, I think it's Chuck that's disconnected. Looks like he's back into it already though. But yeah, this has been a really interesting game. There's so many people high rolling their minds out, and as somebody that's not ready for this, you can fall out of this competition
sure, yeah.
extremely quickly.
Takes a lot of experience to understand what's going on in this game. As we see another egg coming out, I think it's like the 15th egg. I don't know.
Yeah.
But seriously, you're right there. And as we thought that we had kind of seen it all with countless hours of auto chess from some of the best players in the world, this auto battler genre really keeps surprising you. Why is he not upgrading his Ghost Prophet?
Probably
I
because
guess
it's a
it's-
creep
yeah,
round.
yeah,
You
that
can
does
see
make
gets one
sense.
more roll just in case he happens to high roll another Ghost Prophet.
We
level
saw a
8.
lot of that. Honestly, we saw some Dark Spirit 2s at level 8 in the EU group. Also, did we see another 2-star unit at 8? I think it was 2 Dark Spirits.
Saw
at
the
8.
Devastator really
Oh
early
yeah,
too.
yeah. But that was the day before, right? Yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, all these items are actually pretty insane as well for everybody.
Heaven's Gift as well there on Sissel.
Another Heaven's Gift on
Jesus,
3-star Swordman for Neutron.
No big deal, but it's still at 70%. I mean, this really shows how powerful this lobby is. I mean, you look at this setup and you're like, wow, this is powerful. You're one away from that 6 mages, have a really strong front line. Doom Arbiter, Swordman 3, which deals a lot of magic damage, especially those mages. I honestly really like, first of all, if you have a 3-star frontliner with Heaven's Gift, that really helps. It really helps actually the 6 mage comp, because the issue with 6 mage comp is that your backline is so weak to burst damage, right? It takes one Storm Shaman to kind of kill you, basically. And if you have that Swordman to kind of give you that extra life buffer, you can get an extra set of spells off, as well as the Swordman actually deals a lot of magic damage. So finding that 6th mage could prove to be detrimental for Neutron.
Yeah, and Hosey actually dropping down here to Vincent, and it's not really a super huge surprise. He was kind of on borrowed time for the most part with 5%. Not even because he had a weak team, but just in a lobby where there's so many strong players. If you're at 5%, there's bound to be something that goes wrong that makes you lose that 5%.
Yeah.
And it's just unfortunate that Hosey picked this game to lose streak into, and you know, we have all these other players that are going to be right behind him, and then really this game is favoring the people that started out with the high HP, because they're just going to kind of ride that HP a little bit until people get knocked out, and then I think we'll kind of stabilize a little bit where there'll be kind of a stalemate of 2 or 3 players that'll just drag the game out for you know, an hour or 2 or so.
As it goes. Yeah, Vincent barely winning here against Chuck, the kind of second player in the lobby here. Actually going up to first place with that Lightblade Knight, being ever so strong. Almost has yeah, he only needs Wraith, not a Wraith Shard.
For the Broken Sword? Hextech Gunblade?
Thinking of the upgrade from Oblivion Staff with that extra damage item. Oh, we're getting the
Pulled up the
encyclopedia.
encyclopedia.
No, everyone is really strong. I think Sagrog also pulled another Dragonite 2. Also went up to 9. Let's have a look at him. Also one of the closest players to God. Yeah, he did go for that kind of. This is an interesting combination. He does have 3 mages. He does have knights and dragons, but it's not going to be enough against ever so powerful Neutron. And is this enough damage here for him to God? No. But it's close. Only at 4% after that battle.
Yeah, he's kind of in a weird situation right now. He's going Knights Dragons, but typically you would run Knights Dragons with 6 Knights.
Yeah.
But he does have the Shaman bonus because he threw in a Storm Shaman to kind of counteract the mages that he's seeing from Neutron and Vince and them. But at the same time, he's picking up a Tortola Elder if he might not be necessarily fully committed into a build just yet.
I feel like he wants to try to go to 10 or remove something to get into 3 mages. I saw the Thunder Spirit and I was like, oh yeah, with that Storm Shaman it makes sense to add that extra mage bonus and of course Venom dealing some mage damage, but Tortola Elder without any magic crystals, nor does it have a source to rely on, only level 1. Not the strongest unit, but we can see the Storm Shaman dealing 3,700 damage. Oh, it dies actually from the dot damage. So Sagrog getting to kind of dodge a bullet there with that extra tick damage. This game is getting down to the wire pretty early, actually.
Yeah, it's crazy because we were talking about this before the game, whether it was going to be very passive or more aggressive. And I think just the fact that Monty was high rolling pretty well and also going 100%. And then forcing other people to roll in as well with him.
Yeah.
He kind of set the pace at the start of the match for a few rounds. And then everybody, not only did they roll down, but they also high rolled down. So they were picking up everything that they needed and just turning this into this massacre of a game where we're at round 30 and there's about to be, only 3 people probably left in the lobby in the next few rounds here.
Yeah, it's basically like every player is living in the future where they have the comp they should have in 5 rounds.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so Sizzle is also kind of on the chopping block. But I feel like Sagrog, okay, he does have some 3 stars, does have that Lightblade Knight. Picking up a Shadow Edge, this is really nice for the Lightblade Knight. You usually see the Lightblade Knight stacking up a lot of extra armor during the fight, and it's usually the last unit to be in every battle, being in the backline as well. And then it's usually going to have kind of a mano-a-mano situation, kind of a kind of units fight, and having that extra evasion will help him win those duels.
Those slight 1 versus 1s that he can kind of barely sneak in there, right? Yeah.
No, exactly, yeah. But I do think it's going to be Sagrog that's on the chopping block here, because his comp is not looking that fantastic with that. He kind of forced in 3 mages, I feel like, and he did have that Tortola Elder, but he doesn't really have any backup with a mono item. It's not level 2. He had a Storm Spirit at level 1. Those are just weak units at this point. And yeah, he goes out as a result.
And Sizzle, just like you said, just with the little bit of extra something on that Lightblade Knight, he was able to pretty much solo out the entire team, or she was able to solo out the entire team.
Yeah, Knights are really good at that, but with both Hell Knight and Lightblade Knight, kind of getting it done, even facing larger threats in kind of the end game of each combat.
And T-Tiger's here really close to dying, and his build is okay. He has a 3-star Egersis Ranger, which, as we've seen in the past, isn't really that
Yeah, it's not impressive
game-changing, right? But he is going to switch up his units so that way he has 2 groups, which going against mage comps is always a really good situation.
Look at this Monty setup, though. He really had his Doom Arbiter and his Pirate Captain in the right position to meet T-Tiger's opposing left side. Yeah, here we go with the Ghost Prophet, of course, that we talked about previously at 2 stars, waiting for that creep run to be done, but then probably using his egg to kind of finish that. And
T-Tiger's going to drop down at
Yep.
6th here, which is really crazy because T-Tiger's one of the favorites to win this entire thing, of course. Sizzle, still doing good, also put up against T-Tigers. Now, just Neutron and Sizzle kind of looking to hang on for the most part. Monty dropping down quite a bit of HP. Vincent picking up a 3-star God of War as well, which is absolutely insane for him, especially against these Knight players as well. So also adds in a second 2-star Dragon Knight.
He's super strong right now. Yeah, the thing with God of War against Knight comps is that Knight comps can't really control the way they get into the backline. So they will usually get stuck against a God of War until you get something like a teleport dagger for maybe your Hell Knight to go loose on the back line, which I have seen a bit of. And wow, he's playing against this and he's just crushing him.
Yeah,
honestly.
it's no competition here.
No. Yeah, we knew that Vincent was going to be in a really good position, being almost alone on those dragon mages, and we have seen them being ever so powerful. His setup is almost like complete at this point too.
Yeah, there was some people that tried to sneak into the Dragon Mage comp as well, but they were a little bit late to the party, as you see.
Nice. Neutron actually found his 6th mage in God of Thunder.
Yeah.
Probably being the 6th best one he could add, and with that 3-star Swordman, we talked about that a little bit earlier, has that Heaven's Gift, can help the kind of backline survive an initial burst with some extra HP, and they get another wave of attack, and then deal an extra magic damage with those 6 mages.
Monty making a 2-star Devastator with probably his 7th egg of the match, by the way.
Egg-Resist, bonus 2, and Venomancer.
Not able to get a bomb off.
Yeah, getting stuck under the static storm from Storm Shaman, and I mean Vincent is just looking so strong. Sizzle going out here against Monty. Monty and Vincent looking real good. Are very healthy as well. Neutron barely surviving with what we think is a pretty good lineup. I feel like his synergies are very well constructed here. The issue is, however, he's looking for some upgrades. God of Thunder, and he doesn't have a Storm Spirit 2 either. So really needing that extra kick to be in the league of the other top 4 players.
Yeah, and luckily he's going into a creep round right now, so he has a little bit of a breather here where if he can snag that 2-star Thunder Spirit and also the God of Thunder, he'll be in a much better shape. I'm not sure if he's actually going to be in good shape with the amount of units that these other 3 have, but at least he'll be in better shape. Vincent, of course, pretty much maxed out on his build, honestly. He did add in a Defector, so that way he has that Storm Shaman just for the creep round, of course. He's going to probably throw the Pirate Captain back in afterwards, though.
Yeah. So Chuck has actually kind of taken the place of Monty in this game, towards being that super strong long streaker, and he's fully economized again. And we talked about this previously, kind of going like a roller coaster where you go all in, and you're trying to hit that power spike, so you can then fully economize again. And Chuck is really the only player who's been able to do so. So he's really getting ready for the late game, trying to find that Hell Knight 3 before going to 10.
He's also got 2 2-star Berserkers as well. One up here getting turned into a
you're
duck.
right.
But once he can make this 3-star Hell Knight, he's going to have a lot of empty space, right, for that extra
who?
Berserker.
Yeah.
Right, but of course he did take off the Hell Knight to add in that extra Berserker, but I'm saying that he'll actually be able to use that value on his bench right now that he's not able to previously. Of course, Neutron is going to get taken out 4th here to Vincent. And
one away from Berserker 3. He picked up 2 more.
2 on that one round.
Shot gonna roll down. It's gonna stay at 10 gold here, I think, getting an extra interest point.
He also got the 3-star Hell Knight that round as well.
Wow, that was some shuckish rolls right there.
Very chuckish rolls for sure.
Yeah, I like that he's staying at 10 gold and not trying to be greedy to find a Berserker, because 1, he doesn't have anything else to put in, and if he does roll, he only has kind of 3 extra rolls to find a Berserker. It's better to wait until you think that there's a good chance that you have good EV to hit that Berserker before you kind of go for it. You gotta make that measurements right before.
Also
you go
having something to put in its place as well.
Yeah.
Right now he just has a 2-star Frost Knight to throw in, which may or may not be worth
So as we're entering the late game, what do you think you should put in? This is really where you want to look at your opposing teams and be like, what do I need? Okay, there's some Dragon Mages, there's some, I guess some Death Prophet, Hunter, Warrior frontline, kind of like a minus armor frontline, if you will, with Venomancer, 2 Exorcist units and that Devastator. So is there any way you can increase your armor? I mean, probably not. You already have all of the knights, right? But getting that Berserker to 3-star is going to be usually important, not only for its damage increase, but especially that extra HP. You don't want them both to be dying from the burst from the dragons, but also the burst from the Devastator.
I think his plan is to add in the
Wow,
Ghost Pop right now, but yeah, he's going to take some pretty heavy damage. Of course, he's got 61% HP, so he's going to be just fine. Let's take a look at Monty,
and
though.
that Priest Shield as well.
And Monty's going to go out here
Okay.
at rank 3. Yeah, he's
So
going to take
this,
fatal damage.
this gives a lot of information to Chuck about which unit he should be looking for against Vincent. You really want to specialize against him. And if I'm not mistaken, if he can maybe... Wow, he does have an egg, actually.
Yeah, he can make his 3-star Berserker right now, add in the Ghost Prophet if he would like, and then potentially go up to 10 if he can re-economize himself, and add in either another Exorcist, which I don't think would really be
No,
necessary,
Marines, right?
but also he could add in another Warlock,
Oh, yeah.
such
yeah.
as Dark Spirit or something along those lines.
Yeah. Yeah, or of course that Prophet, but I'm thinking he's playing against mages with the Storm Shaman. I just feel like he's crumbling under the Storm Shaman's silence and is not able to kind of come back too well after that. I know that there's only a finals. Chuck was able to actually spread his unit well enough, so both of his kind of carries, which is the Lightblade Knight and that Helm Knight, was able to clean up afterwards. But what you really want to try to do is survive that burst and that silence from the Storm Shaman, and maybe getting some Marine units could be nice at 10. This is definitely going to be in the later stages of the game because Chuck doesn't really have much of an economy as for now.
Yeah, and like we saw, basically what T-Tigers did in the previous rounds is have this exact team for the most part, and then add in the Siren plus the Tsunami Storm.
You see what I'm seeing? This Hell Knight actually does have a teleport dagger, and we've seen that being crucial against these God of War comps. The thing with the God of War comps is that they have this kind of cone of magical damage happening, and that teleport dagger can avoid that cone of damage with that magical burst, but it also avoids his opposing God of War, so he doesn't just sit on him and kind of wastes his precious damage on him.
Both players picking up some really good items from that.
Is that a killer
from
bot?
that. It is a Killer Bot 300 on the Dragon Knight, and he does have another Dragon Knight coming as well.
Oh, so we might see a Frost Dragon in this game, which means that much like Chuck, he can get, if he combines his epic unit, he's able to put something else in. I wonder what that would be for Vincent, as much as I wonder what that would be for Chuck. I'm actually... I don't know. Do you think he should upgrade his Berserker? If you look at this round, right? Berserkers are gonna die so fast from these initial bursts. One of them do you think the reason why he's not pulling them together is because he's afraid of the opposing Venom? Like, right now he can spread kind of the love between 2 Berserkers while one is getting hit by that crucial Venom debuff to the most fastest attacking unit. If he combines them, it's gonna hit basically both of them, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, or he could probably have a secondary... I mean, honestly right now, 2 Berserkers would be better than 1 3-star Berserker if you don't have anything to put in its place, but he does have a Ghost Prophet now, so I think if he finds either another Berserker or another Ghost Prophet, he'll egg the other one, and then he will add that in. But Vincent was able to get up to 10 where Chuck was not, and I think that's going to be very beneficial for Vincent right now.
Yeah, the Siren is really nice. It's gonna let those 2 Dragon Knights do a lot more extra damage. And actually, Vincent has another avenue to upgrade his team, and that is getting a Dragon Knight 3 but it would take a lot more gold for him to add a unit for that to be worth it. Actually losing to Chuck, that's winning on his board too, so he's got to be scared here because Chuck, I mean, he can get a big upgrade at any point.
Yeah, for me, Vincent needs to, one, get the upgrade of the Dragon Knight, so that way he has the 3-star Dragon Knight with Killerbot 300, which would be great, especially with the Wraith Shard and potentially a Mjolnir, you never know, at round 45. But he really needs a Dark Spirit at this point to
It's funny though, we just say
kind of help
round
out against
45
these
so
knights.
casually. We're like, yeah, it's another round 45, you know.
Yeah.
Of course it's going to be another round 45. Yeah, very interesting here.
Oh no, this Hell Knight slid right behind the God of War, which is extremely scary for Vincent. And honestly,
Teleport dagger, man,
with
I'm
the
telling
teleport
you.
dagger, it wouldn't surprise me if Vince wanted to put his God of War in the back line and kind of hold that. But I think that
And
is
this
going to be
gonna
it.
Yeah.
Which was honestly a super exciting game one for these NA
Yeah.
finals.
crazy.
This is probably one of the most exciting games I've seen so far, with so many players rolling at an extremely high rate and also being pressured. It felt like the game went so fast because there's so much going on and so many cool upgrades all at the beginning.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, this is also, we gotta remember, they weren't only high rolling, they enabled themselves to be enough, like, I mean, they were in the right position with the right units, right, at the right time, so they could get the most out of the RNG that they were presented with. If you kind of dabble between a lot of different teams because you don't know what's gonna be best, then you're gonna lose a lot of economy and a lot of potential units if you're gonna get those interest points. So good on them to make this game super exciting, honestly. And I mean, there's so many eggs.
Yeah, there's
I've never
eggs
seen so many eggs
everywhere, and I don't think we're gonna see another game like that probably for the rest of these finals because there's so many things happening that it just, like I said, it was so exciting. But honestly, at the end of the day, if we look at who was first, it was Chuck and Vince. And remember in the yesterday's group 2, it was always Chuck and Vince.
Yeah.
Every single time,
Back and forth.
first place, second place. So they are bringing their dominance over into these NA finals as well. Of course, Monty, another dominant player from his group, and Neutron not far behind at 4th place in this one.
There's a lot of really good players, but Chuck and Vince standing out in this first game. So are Chuck and Vince gonna continue the dominating streak? We're gonna see that right after the break.